Hi, welcome back to another video. In this video, I'll show you how to get monthly dividend income by simply owning 3 Dividend Aristocrats. Now, as a passionate dividend investor who is pursuing financial freedom, my focus is not just to build a large dividend portfolio, but to also ensure that the portfolio will pay me a steady dividend income to cover my living expenses when I finally attain financial freedom. Now, the obvious way for obtaining monthly dividend income is to invest in monthly dividend paying stocks or ETFs such as SPHD, that's an Invesco S&P 500 high dividend low volatility ETF, or XEI, that's a BlackRock high dividend ETF, or to invest in the shares or stocks of REITs. REITs are real estate investment trusts. They operate income-generating real estate or property, so REITs are generally required by law to pay monthly distributions. Here is a quick list of some popular REITs. Realty Income, ticker symbol O, that's a US-listed REIT. Federal Realty, ticker symbol f.i.r.e, that's also a US-listed REIT. RioCan is a Canadian-listed REIT. Smart Centers is a Canadian-listed REIT. Choice Properties is also Canadian. Simon Properties, that's a US-listed REIT. Of course, there are many other REITs out there. You just need to do a quick research on one of the many financial websites and you'll be able to pick up from one of the many selections. But in this video, I'll show you a different strategy for collecting monthly dividend income. But first, let's look at some basic explanations. Dividend Aristocrats. A dividend aristocrat is an S&P 500 company that has consistently grown and paid dividends for at least 25 years. Closely related to dividend aristocrats are dividend kings. Dividend kings are companies that have consistently grown and paid dividends for at least 50 years, a very special club. Currently, there are more than 60 dividend aristocrat companies on the S&P 500. I found a list by Simply Safe Dividends that has 66 dividend aristocrats in 2025. So this is a dividend aristocrat list for 2025. And you can see that there's a list of 66 companies on it. And this list also have the dividend safety score for the different companies. The list has companies across many different industries, including, like I indicated earlier, REITs, for instance. So I think this one has 2 retail REITs. There we go. We have All Realty, like I indicated, and Federal Realty. These are all having safe dividends as well. And so they are on this list of 66 different companies in 2025 as dividend aristocrats. Now, my portfolio is currently made up of 23 different stocks and ETFs, and over 50% of them are dividend aristocrats. Something to remember is that investing in just a few individual stocks can carry some risk with it. So it's important to diversify your portfolio even if you only hold a few stocks. For instance, do not put all your money in financial sector stocks like 3 different banks or industrial stocks or real estate stocks. It's always helpful to diversify in order to manage market risks. The rule of thumb is that you should not invest more than 10% of your portfolio in any one single sector. There are currently 11 sectors in the stock market according to the Global Industry Classification Standards, and they include the energy sector, materials, healthcare, utilities, real estate sector, information technology, communication services, industrials, financial services, consumer staples, and consumer discretionary. The consumer staples sector is a sector that produces goods and services that are always in demand. So their products are not cyclical. For instance, think of companies like Coca-Cola or Procter & Gamble. So there's a difference between the consumer staples and consumer discretionary. Consumer discretionary includes sectors like travel, tourism, cruise ships, and so on, because if there's trouble in the market, guess what? They will reduce their dividends or cut their dividends. We saw that with Disney in 2020 during the pandemic. So there's a difference between consumer staples and consumer discretionary. Generally, dividends are paid on a quarterly basis or every 3 months. However, there are companies that pay dividends on a monthly basis. As I mentioned earlier, REITs, for instance, are required by law to pay their distributions monthly because they operate income-generating property or real estate. But there are also companies that pay dividends semi-annually like Disney, or even annually. That being said, most companies will pay dividends on a quarterly basis. Now, if you enjoy content like this, please consider liking this video and subscribing to my channel. It helps the channel grow. It also encourages me to continue making these videos. With that background in mind, I did some research and put together a list of about a dozen dividend aristocrats that pay dividends in January, February, and in March. Now, something to note is that the list of dividend aristocrats in Canada and the US may vary a little because the companies are listed in different markets. However, they all meet the eligibility criteria of being called dividend aristocrats, having grown and paid dividends consistently for at least 25 years. Let's look at the tables. Let's look at the companies that pay dividends in January. So in January, I have a list of 4 companies. I have TD Bank, ticker symbol TD. I have Walmart, ticker symbol WMT, Kimberly-Clark's, KMB, and Automatic Data Processing. And you can see that I also picked companies across different sectors. TD's financial services, Walmart is consumer staples, and Kimberly-Clark's healthcare sector. ADP is technology software application. So different sectors, because I'm also looking out for diversification. TD pays a dividend of $4.20 annually per share. Walmart pays 94 cents currently. KMB pays $5.04 annually. And ADP pays $6.16. That means that because all these companies pay quarterly dividends, TD pays $1.05 per quarter in dividend income. Walmart pays 24 cents per share, and KMB pays $1.26 every quarter, and ADP pays $1.54. Assuming that we are investing in 200 shares, let me assume that I'm investing in TD, and I do own TD, full disclosure, then I would receive a monthly dividend income of $210 every January from TD. So these are 4 different companies that all pay dividends in January. Tell me in the comment section below which of these companies you may have or you would choose to invest in, knowing that you're looking for a dividend payment in January. So I have TD for January. So the second list is for companies that pay dividends in February, and they include Procter & Gamble, ticker symbol PG, AbbVie, ticker symbol ABBV, Royal Bank of Canada, ticker symbol RY, General Dynamics, and Bank of Montreal. You'll notice I also picked companies across different sectors. Procter & Gamble is a consumer staples company. AbbVie, healthcare. Royal Bank of Canada, financial services. General Dynamics is in the industrials sector, aerospace and defense. And Bank of Montreal, also financial services. And so across different sectors. And you can see there are different payments here. P&G pays $4.23 annually. AbbVie pays $6.56 per share annually. Royal Bank, $5.92. GD pays $6 per share annually. And Bank of Montreal, $6.36. Now, again, quarterly payments. We are still assuming 200 shares in this position as well. So if I chose to invest in TD, for instance, that would mean that every February I will receive $211.50. Now remember, in January, TD was paying me. In February, I'll receive dividend payments from Procter & Gamble, $211. Now remember, all these companies pay dividends on a quarterly basis. Let's look at what companies pay dividends in March. In March, I have Johnson & Johnson, ticker symbol J&J, Enbridge, ticker symbol ENB, Chevron, ticker symbol CVX, and ExxonMobil, ticker symbol XOM. Again, 4 companies across different sectors, actually 3 of them in the energy sector, only J&J is in healthcare sector. And by the way, full disclosure, I own both Johnson & Johnson and Enbridge. So in this case, if I chose to invest in J&J, I would receive $260 in dividend income every March from Johnson & Johnson. So by investing in TD, Procter & Gamble, and Johnson & Johnson, I would receive dividend income in January, February, and March. Let's have a look at that. And so here is the full table of 11 companies that pay dividends in January, February, and March. If, as I indicated earlier, I invested in TD, Procter & Gamble, and Enbridge, What that would mean is that I would receive dividend payments from TD in January, April, July, and October. And then I would receive dividend payments from Procter & Gamble in February, May, August, and November. And I'd receive dividend payments from Enbridge in March, June, September, and December. And by so doing, I end up receiving dividend payments from 3 different aristocrats every single month of the year, even if they only pay dividends every quarter. But because I strategized and selected stocks that pay dividends on consecutive months, that guarantees that I receive dividends every single month as payments rotate every 3 months. Obviously, it's not advisable to only invest in 3 individual stocks. However, by being strategic and mindful of the dividend payment dates of your stocks, you'll ensure that you are getting consistent cash flow from month to month throughout the year. Anyway, I hope you can see from this video that by paying attention to the dividend payment dates, you can simply invest in 3 quality stocks, Dividend Aristocrats, and be assured of monthly dividend income, especially if you're working towards financial freedom, to ensure that when you finally sign off from your employment and start enjoying your financial freedom, you continue to receive steady income from month to month from your portfolio, having been thoughtful in picking stocks that will evenly pay you instead of having fluctuations from month to month. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video and found it helpful. If you did, please consider liking and subscribing if you're not yet subscribed. Share with family and friends. I'll see you in the next one.